everybody, it's me, Caitlin, your favorite Michigan girl, and this is it! This is the final recap or review for Season 1 of WandaVision. The last episode started streaming last Friday. I loved it. It's probably my favorite episode of the series, which is saying a lot because, Previously On was my favorite, and following that was the 60s episode, which, Don't Change the Channel. I loved that episode. As you can tell, let me mess with my camera for a little bit and totally ruin it. I am wearing my 1960s WandaVision shirt. This is the shirt, by the way. I mentioned it. I don't know if I've worn this before, but this is the shirt that I was wearing, and my mom thought I was wearing a Big Witch t-shirt, and I'm like, actually, it's WandaVision, so... it was really, those three are like my top episodes. So, but it's hard to think about. This season of WandaVision is over. And we might get a second season. I don't know. The way this episode kind of ended really makes me feel like not only was it leading into Captain Marvel 2 and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, but I really think, the series finale, as the episode was titled, was kind of leading into the possibility of there being a second season. So I'm really excited to see what happens. You guys, quick note, sorry about my hair. I actually just took a shower, so I wanted to get this up because my life is about to get really crazy, which is one reason why I have made the decision I will probably not be doing episode recaps and reviews each week for the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I'll probably just do a review at the end of the series, but my life is going to be crazier, and I'm going to do a life update vlog within the next few days to let you guys know what's going on in my life because I haven't done one in a while. So, let's talk about WandaVision, the series or season finale, not quite sure. It was titled the series finale, but that could just mean maybe that this iteration of WandaVision is done because they can't really make a new WandaVision with this same concept, with going to the different eras, the different sitcoms, which I loved. That was so amazing. But before I just do my general review of the show, let's talk about last week's episode, which picked up right where we left off with Agatha holding Billy and Tommy hostage, threatening Wanda after the revelation that Wanda is a Scarlet Witch. I don't think Agatha ever said the Scarlet Witch at the end of Previously On when she made that big reveal about who Wanda really is. I think she just referred to her as a Scarlet Witch. I don't think she called her the Scarlet Witch. So I really think that the Scarlet Witch just kind of comes in later, especially when later in the episode, and one of my Funkos just fell. And it was 1950s Wanda. But they're facing off. Agatha reveals she wants Wanda's powers, which I will get to it later on. Something Agatha says that makes me kind of go, wait, hold up. Why would she want Wanda's powers exactly with what she says later in the episode? Agatha is really mean to Billy and Tommy. She just grabs the rope she has and she yanks them back by their necks, slamming these two poor boys onto the sidewalk. And I'm sitting there and I'm going, oh my God, Disney? What the? WTH? What the heck? You know, like Disney Plus is like family friendly, and then you have a show like WandaVision and you have two boys who are 10 years old and there's a big nasty witch behind them and she has them by the neck with like ropes around them and she just yoinks them back, and I'm going, solidified, when I have kids, if I ever have kids, I am not letting them watch WandaVision till they're at least 13, maybe 15, like, I have said this, like, Clone Wars, and The Mandalorian, and now WandaVision, I am not letting my kids watch these shows till they're in their teens. That is saying something. Like, I mean, I will let them watch the original Star Wars movies and the prequels and the sequels, but I am not letting them watch, like, Mandalorian till they're, like, 15, and I'm not letting them watch Clone Wars till they're, like, 13. I am drawing the line somewhere. I'm sorry, Clone Wars is not a kid show. WandaVision, for sure, is not a kid show. It's not a family show. WandaVision, full on, straight up, do not watch with your kids unless you know your kids can handle it, because I don't know your kids. Just knowing me and my personality, my kids would probably not be able to handle it. But getting off track there for a moment, Wanda realizes, hey, we're not in Agatha's creepy basement anymore. This means there are no ruins. And guess what? I can use my magic. So she points it out and she slams the power into Agatha and basically says, boys, get to your room! Like every angry, concerned, paranoid mother on the planet. Trust me, I live with one. I'm 33 years old, and my mom, I go for a bike ride, and my mom's like, please be careful. And I'm like, dude, it's totally fine. No, be careful. What are you going to do when I'm in a car? Be the same. So I kind of know where Wanda's coming from because I do live with a similar mom. She is like, I'm going to take you out, I'm going to do you, but Agatha reveals, haha, Agatha has a unique ability of her own. She can absorb the power of other witches, which it then becomes her own. This is what we see her do at the beginning of Previously On. Whether on purpose, and I'm starting to lean towards that she did it on purpose, she drained the magic and the life force from her coven, including her own mother. And that is what she wants to do with Wanda, and she reveals that as when Wanda looks at her hand, it's starting to get all gross and black, a sign that Agatha is draining her powers and her life. Agatha taunts Wanda, and Wanda does the cool thing where you're looking at me, but you can't see my hand that's down by my side as I shove in a car to go vroom and slam into you and shove you into a house. And we're like, yay, ding dong, the witch is not dead, because when Wanda goes to check, all she sees are Agatha's boots. Agatha is not there. So, that happens, and then in the window we see a form appear, a vision, white vision. For Wanda, sad and worried, this could be, she's like, Vision? And he acts like Vision. He comes up to her and he's like, Wanda, and like he's so kind and sweet. And then he has his hands on the side of her head, and then he just starts to squeeze and lift her up from the ground. And he's like, I thought you were powerful. And I'm sitting there in my room. First time I watched this, so glad my mom's at home going, no, what are you doing? Don't do that. Where's the real Vision? And dun 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 dun, here comes Prince Vision, slamming into White Vision, saves Wanda. The two quickly make up and decide that they need to defend their home. Now, you might be wondering, what about Darcy? What about Wu? What about Monica? Well, we see Monica. She's being held hostage by Pietro inside Agatha's house. He has his man cave. And I'm just going to summarize this really quickly so we can get back to the action. While she's there, Monica makes the discovery that Pietro is actually an ordinary guy named Ralph Bonner. Remember how in earlier episodes Agnes was talking about her husband Ralph, who we never saw? That's who this guy is. He is the hidden Ralph. He is just a normal guy that Agatha used magic to take over and control and turn him into the fake Pietro. And she basically called him her husband. That's kind of creepy. Monica is able to use her new abilities to see what's controlling him, yank it off Ralph, and it's like, now I can go help my friends. Meanwhile, Wu has been caught, he is brought to Hayward, and Hayward taunts Wu, saying that it doesn't matter what happens, the world is going to praise me for destroying a dangerous villain like Wanda, and they're going to praise me for bringing back one of the most sophisticated sentient weapons ever developed, because there is no footage of Wanda's vision to sword. There is no more broadcast. All they're going to see is what Hayward wants them to see. And he is hell-bent, excuse my language, it seems like, on destroying Wanda. Like I said a couple recaps ago, I don't think Hayward likes enhanced individuals. And I don't think he likes people who are snapped and then blipped back. So Hayward has a lot of issues, and he's just not a great guy. I'm sorry if you like Hayward. I can't. He is a villain. He is one of the villains. Mr. Wu is like, well, guess what? I got friends at Quantico, and they're going to be here inside the hour, and they're going to kick your butt, and blah, blah, blah. So they take Wu, who has sneakily got a cell phone, to a little area, lock him in, and he is able to pick his handcuffs, and this creates one of the most funniest moments, of which there's only really 2 funny moments in this entire episode, and that is Wu taking out the handcuffs and going, flourish! In case you've forgotten, flourish is what Vision said after almost every single magic trick he performed in episode 2 of WandaVision, which that scene just makes me die laughing every time just because of how he says flourish and then gestures. It's amazing. Paul Bettany, you deserve an Emmy. You deserve all the awards. Elizabeth Olsen, you deserve all the awards. You guys were amazing in this show. So, with that going on, let's go back to the fight. While the boys are in their rooms and Vision and White Vision are in the air fighting, Wanda hightails it to downtown. People are there, they're walking about, they're going about their day, and they're not noticing or saying anything, which you know, especially when you see Agatha on top of a store building with the Darkhold. Yes, that's what it was. That was the Darkhold. Sitting there, and she decides to educate Wanda. She says there's a whole chapter about the Scarlet Witch in the Darkhold, which is the Book of the Damned, which if you watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you already knew that. Ding! What she reveals is that the Scarlet Witch is not born. So you're not actually born with chaos magic. The Scarlet Witch is a witch who has been forged by something. So previously on, Agatha actually points out that Wanda was a little witch and her abilities would have withered on the vine. Like she would have lost her magical abilities. But something happened. That's something we know now is her exposure to the Mind Stone. That exposure is actually what turned Wanda into a Scarlet Witch. She was forged, she wasn't born. So, yeah, that's what happens. What makes me wonder why Agatha would want the powers of a Scarlet Witch to begin with is she says that as a Scarlet Witch, Wanda's destiny is to destroy the world. So basically just destroy everything. Which, knowing Wanda, that's like the furthest thing from what Wanda wants to do. Like, Wanda has used her abilities to hurt people. But Wanda, I think, generally is a very nice person, is a very good person, and she doesn't really want to harm people who don't deserve it. I mean, if you watch Captain America Civil War and the whole thing that goes on with Largos, it's clear that Wanda is pretty kind of almost, I don't want to say traumatized, but it really affected her, and she clearly feels a lot of guilt and responsibility for her actions. So to me, Wanda doesn't want to destroy the world. Wanda points that out. So if a Scarlet Witch's destiny is to destroy the world, and they're these threats to life, they're threats to everything, it makes me wonder why Agatha would want to absorb the powers of the Scarlet Witch to begin with if they're such a threat to the world, to life, to like anything and everything. It doesn't make any sense. Why would you want that power? Why would you want that power when you're sitting there saying the Scarlet Witch is a horrible thing? You're horrible and da 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 da. But you want the power that she has? That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And like I said, it makes me wonder more about Agatha's mindset. And it also makes me really think that when she killed her coven, that it wasn't so much an accident as it really was on purpose. So, and it also is interesting to point out that the witches had, Agatha's coven, their power was blue. Agatha's is purple, and Wanda's is, of course, red. So that's really an interesting thing to see the different colors of magic used by the different types of witches, which we'll also get into a little bit later. Vision appear, losing my train of thought. Agatha takes a spell off of Dottie, who comes forward and pleads with Wanda to let her little 8-year-old daughter out of her room, which confirms that Wanda's kids has been keeping the kids asleep in their rooms. Agatha then removes Wanda's spell from all the other residents, and they start kind of like marching towards her very sinisterly, like scolding her, saying, "Why? All we hear is your pain. All we hear is this." And Wanda's frantically saying, "No, no, no, you're fine, you're fine." Basically, this is again really adds, I think, more evidence to my case that Wanda didn't really know what she was doing, and I really feel like that's clear. And this is just another case to it, because she looks at Agatha and goes, "What are you doing to these people? Why are you controlling them?" And Agatha's like, "Actually, that was you." So I don't even think Wanda knew she was controlling people, which I think is why in the 80s episode, a very special episode, she got so cut off by Vision's accusations about what she was doing, because she honestly didn't know. Like, she didn't know. Like, she said, she's like, "You think I can control these people?" So she didn't know she was controlling these people, which really adds support to that. Wanda didn't know what she was doing, or even realizing it. And Agatha's idea that basically Wanda's magic was just acting on autopilot. Because if it was acting on autopilot, then Wanda didn't really need to be aware of what was going on. In her fear and her terror, Wanda reaches out with her magic and she wraps it around people's necks and they fall to the ground. Wanda is horrified and she immediately lets them go, and the people are saying, "If you're not going to let us go, just kill us." And Wanda's like, "You know what? I'm going to let you go. I'm going to let you go." And she begins raising the hex with Hayward's like, "We can go in, but there's a small problem." Wanda has tied Vision and Billy and Tommy to this reality she's created within the hex. Billy and Tommy have arrived after Billy has seen a vision of his mom in danger, and he and Tommy go to help her. Vision has fallen to the ground because he is being torn apart, and the twins are being torn apart. Seeing this, Wanda is horrified, so she stops opening the hex, and it closes back up, preserving Vision and the twins. And Agatha points out, hey, guess what? This twisted little reality you created, if you end it, you destroy your family. They're not going to be able to survive without outside the hex. The family embraces, and this is when the army arrives along with White Vision. Vision and Wanda are like, hi guys, so you know we didn't really prepare you to like take on an evil synthezoid and a witch and the United States military, but we think you're ready. So Vision goes after White Vision, Wanda goes after Agatha, and the twins take care of the military. Because that's what 10-year-olds with superpowers do. They take on a branch of the United States military. And they rocked it. It was awesome. It was really cute. And again, going back to the powers, Billy's powers are like a white-blue. When he uses magic, it's the same color as what the color of the magic that the Coven used against Agatha. So that's really, really interesting and cool to see. Billy uses his gifts to freeze the soldiers. Tommy uses his super speed to strip them of their bullets, hats, gloves, whatever. They're like, yeah, cool. But wouldn't you know it, evil jerk Hayward is back, and he decides he's going to solve this problem very simply by shooting the 10-year-old. What kind of idiot does that? How much more of a villain could you be? He goes into the 10-year-olds. Thank God Monica swoops in to save the day. She's able to use her new powers to slow the bullets to prevent them from hitting the boys as they go through her body. And Billy is able to use his powers to stop one. Monica's like, hey, I like your trick. And Billy's like, thanks, I like yours too. With no guns left, Hayward decides to make a quick retreat, but dun-dun-dun, once again, here comes Darcy! Darcy is quickly becoming one of my favorite secondary characters in the MCU. She takes that little Sweet's car, I don't remember what it is, and she rams it into the Jeep that Hayward is in and goes, have fun in prison! And that was like the second funniest moment of the episode, which thank God we had that. Because now we get into some hard stuff. So, Vision is fighting White Vision in the library, and my instant thought is, no, not the library! Don't do that to a bookworm! And he is able to tell White Vision that, he's like, what are you doing? And White Vision's like, I'm here to kill the Vision. And Vision's like, but I'm not the Vision, I'm only a conditional Vision. Which White Vision pauses and asks to elaborate on. And basically, Vision is like, well, they use this thing I've never heard of, like a Sumsapira or something. It's a reference that it's a like historical science reference that went way above me. But Hex Vision, which I'm going to call him now, is able to convince White Vision that he shouldn't be fighting him because technically they're the same. The only thing White Vision is missing is the memories, which is what Hex Vision is. He's made of like bad material. It's decomposing vibranium, stuff like that. White Vision has all the hardware and the parts. What he's missing is the memories, which ironically enough, Hex Vision doesn't have, as we know. What Hex Vision is able to do is he does unlock the memories of Vision within White Vision. White Vision changes from a soulless killing robot who can be controlled to Vision, and then he takes off and we don't see him for the rest of the episode. Meanwhile, Wanda and Agatha's fight continues. Wanda is able to sneak up behind Agatha and get into her mind, taking her back to Salem to the night she was put on trial by her sisters. Wanda's plan is to use that to bring Agatha down, pointing out that that is the difference between her and Agatha, which backs up my theory that Agatha killed her coven on purpose. Wanda doesn't use her powers for evil like Agatha does. So I really do believe that despite all of Agatha's acting in Previously On, she really did mean to kill her coven. She tried to save her mom, but I don't think she did it by accident. I really honestly do believe that she might have done it on purpose. And Wanda's comment does that. It backs it up. But as the witches surround Agatha, they realize Wanda is a Scarlet Witch, and so they tie her to the stake instead. Agatha says, your problem isn't the power, it's that you lack the knowledge on how to use that power. That's when we see the first sign of the Scarlet Witch crown, which made chills run down my spine. It was awesome. Wanda breaks them out of the mind realm and into the real realm, where they then decide to start fighting in the air. Vision, of course, is freaking out. He goes to save his wife. Wanda sends him back down and says no, and he's like, no, you have to stay out of it. While Agatha's like, come on, give it, give me the power, give me more. And Wanda's like, fine, you want this power? You can have it. I don't want it. Which, again, speaks to me as Wanda as a person. She likes her power. I mean, it's something she's had for a long time. You can't just lose it. I think if you have magic, and losing it would be like losing a limb, losing a part of you if you have this ability. But she clearly would be willing to give it up to save people. I mean, I think in that moment we see that Wanda is not this evil person. So she starts shooting bolts of magic at Agatha. Some of the shots hit Agatha and she absorbs them. Other shots seem to go really wide and hit the wall of the hex. And it seems really confusing until finally Wanda gives one last burst and she just hangs lifeless in the sky. Like she's exhausted and she's given up. And Agatha, who had promised that Wanda could stay in the hex, taunts her by pointing out, the magic you used here was flawed. It will always be broken. You are always broken. Agatha goes to shoot her, and she can't. She tries again. No magic. Slowly, Wanda lifts her head and raises a hand, and that's when we see behind her... Uh-oh, what happened? Okay, sorry, my video paused for a moment. Wanda lifts her head, raises her hand, and we see behind her on the hex that she had used her powers to create ruins, going back to what Agatha first said, that in a space, only the witch who cast the ruins can use their powers. And this is when Wanda becomes the Scarlet Witch. Oh my gosh, you guys, I love the new Scarlet Witch costume. It is my favorite. They already have a version of it on Hot Topic by her universe that I am hoping to get, which for me is saying a lot because I am not one who would usually get full-on outfits like this. But oh my gosh, it is amazing. It looks stunning. I love this outfit. It looks so much more better than the comic outfits or even the outfits she wore in Captain America Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame. I am so totally on board with this new Scarlet Witch outfit. It looks amazing. She's able to bring Agatha down to the ground where Agatha's like, so what, you're going to lock me up? And Wanda reveals her punishment. Agatha will be locked up, but in the role she chose for herself within Wanda's world. She will be forever the nosy neighbor Agnes. When Agatha says, you will need me, Wanda's like, that's okay. I know where to find you. And then comes the moments that made me cry really hard the first time and made me tear up yesterday when I watched the episode again. Wanda decides she needs to take down the hex. This is the right thing to do. So she and the boys and Vision head home. She and Vision put the twins to bed, say they're so proud of them. Wanda thanks them for choosing her to be her mom as the hex is slowly getting smaller and smaller until it will vanish. Wanda and Vision say goodbye in the living room, and Vision asks what he was, who he was. And Wanda says a very touching line. She says, Vision, he is made of machine and wires, blood and bone, and the part of the Mind Stone that lived inside her. She says this vision represents her grief, her hope, and mostly her love. And that was such a poignant moment to me because I think it really echoes back to Vision telling Wanda that what is grief but love persevering. And it was, I want to cry now just thinking about it because it was so, I felt that this was the goodbye they deserved, that this was the goodbye they should have always gotten. But at the same time, knowing what he did, that he unlocked Vision's memories within White Vision, knowing that, I have so much hope. And I think that Wanda knows that because when Vision says, makes a mark, Hex Vision makes her mark, it stands to reason since we said goodbye so many times before. Wanda's like, we will say hello again. And even as he fades away, he says, see you soon, darling. Like, see you soon, darling. I'll see you later, darling. Like, he's not going to really be gone. And then everything vanishes and Wanda is standing in the empty lot. She goes to see Monica and everybody's glaring at her. And it hurts me to see people glaring at Wanda because I don't think people realize just how much she gave up to save them. And they can't be understanding of her grief for one moment. And it just really, really hurts me to see how much fear and even hatred they have for her. And I'm like, you don't hate any of the other Avengers like that. You don't hate any other superhero like that. Wanda has saved so many people. She has saved the world, saved the galaxy. But you can't understand what she's going through in her grief. You can't be bothered to reach out and see if she's okay or really understand what's going on once this is all said and done with. You're just going to hate her for no reason. That I understand your lives were upside down and torn apart, but you have to understand what this woman is going through. This woman has been through so much in her life, and instead of reaching out and helping her now that you're free, you're going to stand there and judge her and hate her. And that really, like, it just got to me in that moment. Like, literally the only person who is there for her with any ounce of kindness is Monica. Like, Monica tells Wanda, like, given your powers, I would do the exact same thing. I would bring my mom back because I understand what you're going through. I have lost everyone too. So it just sucks that Monica's the only one who is willing to reach out to Wanda with any sort of friendship or kindness or understanding. And Wanda, I think, knows that. So Wanda leaves, tells Monica goodbye, and she leaves Restview. And that is that. But we did get a mid-credit scene and a post-credit scene. The mid-credit scene actually, I think, really sets up Captain Marvel 2 and maybe even Miss Marvel, as after talking to Rue, Monica is escorted into the theater where a Skrull appears and tells her that she has been sent by her old friend of her mom's. He's heard she's been grounded, and he wants to meet with her in space. I'm sorry, I'm getting used to my camera still. Okay, so who is this friend of Monica's mom? I have a feeling it's going to be Nick Fury. Originally, I did think it was one of the Skrulls, but the one Skrull I thought it could be is actually, I think, on Earth right now because he's in Spider-Man Far From Home. So I actually think it's Nick Fury. And then the post-credit scene, we see Monica. We find this little cabin. Wanda's out front of this little cabin drinking coffee. She goes inside. Sinister music starts playing. That's actually a darker, slower version of the music from Doctor Strange, where we see Scarlet Witch, astral projected, reading the Darkhold, and then we hear the screams of Billy and Tommy before it's over. Oh my gosh, you guys, it was kind of an intense episode. It was a gut-wrenching episode. It was a really good episode, and I think it was a perfect episode to end the series, be it actually the ending of the series or just the season finale. Now, you're wondering why I'm thinking season finale. Simply because of what they did with White Vision, with him just leaving after Hex Vision unlocked his memories and him becoming now Vision. I think that will set up to a second season of WandaVision where maybe White Vision, or Vision as he's now known, is searching for her. You know, a lot of the memories we see flash through in that sequence do revolve around Wanda, of them being together, of what Wanda did and everything that has happened. So I really have a feeling that we will see White Vision again and he will be looking for Wanda to be with her, which makes me happy because honestly, Wanda and Vision deserve to be together forever. So I really kind of think, I don't want to say for sure 100% there's a chance we're going to get a second season of WandaVision, but I do kind of think we will. At this point, I think we're like 20 to 30% going to get a second season of WandaVision because they left it in such a way that there could be a second season, and also it was such an insanely popular show. Like, I knew I was going to like it because I'm a Marvel fan, and Scarlet Witch is one of my favorite Marvel characters. Like, I was thinking about this the other day. Other than Spider-Man, my other favorite Marvel characters are Loki, Doctor Strange, and Scarlet Witch, and those are all the characters that do magic and stuff, so I really like magic characters. But I just think there is that chance that because it just blew up. Like I said, I'm backtracking. I knew going into WandaVision I was going to like it because I'm a huge Marvel fan. What I wasn't expecting was for the number of people, whether they were Marvel fans or not, who would like WandaVision. Like, I had a girl on Instagram, I posted a picture one day where I was talking about watching WandaVision, and she says, do I need to watch Marvel to understand it? Because I want to watch it because I keep hearing great things about it. And I said, it helps, but you don't really need to. I don't think you need to watch it. You know, I know a little bit of comics, and I've seen the movies, so it helped me. But honestly, with WandaVision, I think if you just watch if you watch Age of Ultron, Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame, you'll be able to get what's going on in WandaVision. I don't think you necessarily need to read the comics. I think it's fine if you haven't read the comics. You know, I haven't read the comics. I just read summaries about what happens. But I think WandaVision was set up in such a way that if you haven't seen all the Marvel movies, if you haven't read the comics, you're not necessarily going to be missing out. And it was such a well-done show. The early episodes, the 50s and 60s episodes, doing it in black and white, having the live studio audience, doing the practical effects with the wires and the camera rewind and the quick shots where they freeze and then, oh my gosh, magic happened. That was really, really awesome. I loved the attention to detail in all the episodes. I loved the plot. I loved, like I said, Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen deserve all of the awards for their portrayals of Vision and Wanda. They did such a good job. It was so, so good. And I said, I knew I was like it. I was hesitant for the first 2 episodes, but they ended up being really, really good. And like I said, the 60s episode is actually one of my favorites. Was this a risk? Yes, this was a risk. This was always going to be a risk for Marvel. Because they had never done, well, one, they had never done, the only TV shows they had done was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Runaways, which was on Hulu, which you can now watch on Disney+, and they tried doing, I think it was Inhumans, which did not go very well. So Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was like the only Marvel live-action show that did really well and was popular and maintained like a following. So really doing another like TV show kind of series was going to be a risk, and not only that, doing it this way, that was an even bigger risk. And prior to that, the biggest risk they had taken was making Thor Ragnarok like all-out comedy. But it was a big risk, and I think it paid off because like I said, I love the show. My brother actually really likes the show, and he is one of the hardest people to impress. One of my friends, who is similar to my brother, he really enjoyed the show. I know lots of, I'm on a WandaVision fan group page, and there's like, I think like 400 of us now, and it was a really great show. Are people upset? Yes. And I think people are upset primarily with the series finale because they didn't have their questions answered and none of their theories came true. That is the thing with belonging to a fandom like Marvel, like Star Wars, like whatever. You're going to have your theories. They're going to be wrong. You're going to have questions. They're not going to get answered. There is nothing you can do. You are a fan. You are not the writer. You are not the producer. You are not the director. You are not involved in any creative process. A fan theory to you might make total sense, but in the grand scheme of that overarching story of the fandom, that theory could be really hard to do. So I understand why people are mad, but I think they need to realize that they have no reason to be mad, I think. Am I sad that I didn't have questions answered? Of course I'm sad because I am by nature very curious. But I will go into this knowing my questions aren't going to get answered. I have been a Star Wars fan for many, many years. I have been a Marvel fan for a few years. And so I already know, being a part of those two fandoms mainly, that my questions are not always going to get answered. And you know what? I don't care. Am I sad sometimes? Yes, but in the end, I don't really care if my questions get answered when I want them because they'll be answered sooner or later. So I think we need to keep that in mind. But like I said, WandaVision was a risk. It paid off. Don't listen to the naysayers. It was awesome. If you haven't watched it yet, go binge all the episodes. This actually makes me really, really hopeful for Loki, which I think is going to be the next risky venture for MCU. Loki comes out in June. We actually have Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which starts next Friday. This Friday, they're airing a behind-the-scenes special on WandaVision. Next Friday, they will be airing the first episode of the Falcon and Winter Soldier, which is a limited-run event of 6 episodes. And as they said, that is going to be more along the lines of a traditional MCU offering. Kevin Feige has described it as being a traditional MCU movie told over 6 episodes. So it's going to be more along the lines of Age of Ultron, Avengers Assemble, Civil War, that type of thing. So it's not going to have the weirdness to it that WandaVision does. But Loki will be coming in June, and like I said, WandaVision gives me so much hope that Loki will be a success because Loki is kind of another experimental type show. because Loki is going to be detective. So the whole premise of, so what they're basing Loki on is detective shows. So basically the TVA is like a time detective agency, I'm gathering. So Loki is going to be a detective. So I'm really excited for that. I'm really excited to see what they do with that because I actually like detective stuff. So I'm really, really excited for Loki. And then, of course, we have Hawkeye and Miss Marvel coming out. I think Hawkeye, again, will be somewhat more along the lines of being traditional. I think it will be actually really funny because it is about Hawkeye, Clint Barton, and the newest Hawkeye, Kate Bishop. And Clint, as we know, is kind of a jokester, so I'm really excited to see if that is going to be as funny as I think it is. And then one of the shows I am most excited about is Miss Marvel. I cannot wait to see Miss Marvel. I'm not exactly sure how that's going to play. I think it's going to be somewhat traditional, but I really think it's going to be amazing. And let's not forget, WandaVision has set us up for Phase 4 of the MCU. Unlike Black Widow was originally going to be the opening shot for Phase 4, unfortunately that did not happen, so WandaVision is our opening for Phase 4 of the MCU. And honestly, I think I'm happy that WandaVision was the first part of Phase 4 of the MCU. I think with those cutscenes at the end of series finale, it really set up some of the movies we have coming out, like Captain Marvel 2, like Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, both of which are part of Phase 4 and both of which I think come out next year. So I think WandaVision did an excellent job setting up Phase 4 of the MCU, which I do not think, as much as excited as I am for Black Widow and to finally go see this movie, I do not think Black Widow would have set up Phase 4 of the MCU as well as WandaVision has. So I'm really, really excited. So, oh my gosh, this video is almost 40 minutes. So quickly, you guys, tell me down in the comments below what you guys thought about the series finale of WandaVision. Do you think we're going to get a second season? Were any of your questions answered? What are your thoughts, takes on it? Now, what series are you looking forward to the most? And do you think WandaVision was a great start to start off the MCU Phase 4? Or do you wish we could have had Black Widow come out first? So, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If you like this video, make sure you give me a big old thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe. Like I said, in a couple days, I will be coming out with a life update. You guys, I had some big news over the last few days that I'm so excited to share with you guys as I embark on yet another new step in my life. So, I will talk to you guys later. Stay safe, stay sane, stay healthy, and I'm sending you all lots of love, hugs, and prayers. And like I said, I'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.